Hello, this is Raina Leon. I'm answering questions about Canticle of Idols, my first book. This question is, this was your first collection of poetry. Do you find your poetry has changed since its publication? In what ways? If not, how has it stayed the same? Okay, my poetry, my work has totally changed in some ways. So I love to explore different forms, different mechanisms for thinking about conveyance of meaning, received forms. So I might write something in a prose poem or in a villanelle or a haiku or as a haibun, and then shifting the original intent of that particular poetic form. I might make up my own form as well, which is seen within the Vos poems in Canticle of Idols. Um, I was mentioning in an earlier clip about including QR codes and visual elements in my work. So that's something that's definitely evolved over time. Um, and I like to do and I started that here as far as thinking about play with page space. So one of the first poems in this book, actually the first poem, Three Women and a Man, is a triptych. It's meant to be read across and then up and down. So across is one distinct voice, and then up, then there are three distinct voices that go from the top to the bottom. And so they essentially create four different poems and four different voices. So I started with that as far as within my published work, really playing with page space as well. But in Boogeyman Dawn, which was my second book, I started playing with turning the book not vertical but horizontal and playing across this space. With Sombra Dislocate, I also started to experiment with using the margin space. So using the orientation of, yes, left to right, and how Western audiences generally read from left to right and then up to down, up to the bottom, but also using the margin space to conjure in another voice. And so that, at least, is also very interesting and persistent in my work, no matter what the form is, but thinking about the multiplicity of voices and whose voices are heard and whose are not, and how to create space to hear those who generally would be pushed into the silent space. So I hope that answers your question. There's a lot of evolution that I have done and continue to do and look forward to doing, inspired by the work of others as well. Thanks.